we come to the second boxing wrestling magazine videos, and this is still May 1953 edition of Boxing Wrestling magazine there. So Joe Dundee, Johnny Dundee. Obviously this is different times they're talking about there. It's called the Baltimore Bombers here. And again, Johnny Dundee with like a rope of dope. When there was 3 strands of the rope, he would sit his bottom on the bottom strand and fight off that. So it's a sort of early form of rope of dope, but obviously a different type of ring. They're normally 4 strands today. Tommy Farr from Tony Paddy Wells. He was he took Joe Louis the distance in Joe Louis's first offence. And even people were doubting Joe Louis's power then, but obviously 25 defences down the line, you'd have one of the best knockout records for the heavyweight division. But again, Tommy Farr went the distance here. This is him against Red Berman, who he won a decision in their fight. Finished his days off in Shoreham, Sussex. Tommy Farr had a great book written about him called Thus Far. Sixto Escobar, hard hit in Puerto Rico, who was a perennial rival of Harry Jeffers. And he's got Harry Jeffers there. A bit about Harry Jeffra, classy boxer who won the bantam title from Sixto Escobar in New York City. Then you got the famous KO artist George Cheney there. And Johnny Dundee there. Brother of Vince was the welterweight champion who beat Pete Latzo. And then got the hard-hitting Charlie Goma. Though he never reached the heights, there can be little doubt that the hard-hitting Charlie Goma pleased the fight fans, it says here. So, the game aggressive, non-stop punching Mexican Bobby Garcia, a near champion, a famous figure of the era which will never return, Al Hereford, Joe Gans' mentor. Kid Williams there, lovely picture that. One of the greatest body punchers of all time. The Relentless. Here I'm Andy Cheney. He almost made the featherweight title a busy bee of his class. Although he never startled the world with his hard-hitting and colourful style, he was a cunning ring general of the first water, the late Vince Dundee. So John Morrissey, nice story here. It's a bit of the bare knuckle era. There's a bit about him ended up in a fireplace in some fight inside a pub or something like that. Quite good little stories, these, as they always are, sort of in the Wild West days of the bare knuckle. John Morrissey. Yeah, and it's got some sort of newspaper pushing his advantage. Morrissey shot lefts and rights to Heenan's rib and his body. Heenan fell forward to the ground. So John Heenan would fight come over to Britain and fight Tom Sayers in one of the fights that really changed the rules of boxing from the London prize ring, really. It was so brutal. It was illegal and they had to come on trains. There's lots of pictures of them dressing up on trains, etc. To get there, and different venues given. So the police did end up breaking a fight. It was called a draw between Tom Sayers from Brighton and Tom C. Heenan. But again, Morrissey beat Heenan here. Some would say that's the first world title. Tom C. Heenan v Tom Sayers. Some wouldn't. But again, back to Morrissey here. And again, it says here the boy lashed out with a straight right to the bearded jaw. Bibler Gehan slowly sank to the floor. So he beat Bibler McGeehan. And yeah, so it says here, John Morrissey rose from the lowly ballroom brawler and gained political recognition. But yeah, it's got a story about that, where he ends up in the fireplace in one of them sort of barroom brawls, or, you know, where they put money on, etc. Good pictures here. John Morrissey playing for high stakes scientific game of Faro Sucker. John Morrissey and his gang breaking up Bill Paul's cohorts in a desperate affray. Yeah, lots went on there. It was slightly based on the character of Gangs of New York, Bill Paul. Yeah, very Wild West there. Morrissey, statesman. She had to do two different parties fighting against each other. Yeah, like I say, like gangs, etc. I mean, obviously, Gangs of New York was more of a fictional thing, but it's characters based on Morrissey, the statesman, delivering his address to the House. Representations there. So, nice picture there. And there's a few more pictures of Heenan. Tommy Lugren. Never had a punch, but a beautiful counter-puncher and boxer. And apparently he used to play like a gramophone when he was training. And he'd noticed this song would end up 3 minutes, and he wanted to end up back in his corner by the end of the 3 minutes. So he had a timer on him, pretty much. They'd end up back in his corner by the end of the 3 minutes. And he'd play that song in training, so I'm told. But again, he ended up fighting Primo Carnera, giving away ridiculous amounts of weight to Carnera. But a beautiful counter-puncher. I'd have him right up there, Tommy Lugren, for his work. Fought everyone from Harry Greb, Mickey Walker, Gene Tunney, Jack Delaney, young Striblin, who went too soon. He died. Young Striblin had many fights, but he died in a motorcycle accident at 23 when he was going to visit his newborn baby in hospital. Bit of a sorry story there. But back to Lugren, he also fought Martin Burke, George Carpentier, Johnny Risco, Primo Carnera, and the Cinderella Man, Jim Braddock, Ernie Scaff. Opponent would die in the ring against Primo Carnera after a really hard fight against Max Baer. King Levinsky, Steve Hammes, he fought Ray Impellitteri, Ray Impellitteri, and Tommy Farr, and hordes of other contenders. Yeah. And it says here, Tommy is now engaged in Wall Street, where he's employed as an executive capacity for a brokerage house, an asset to boxing whose skill will be remembered. And then again, we've got the rankings here, the monthly rankings there. So I'll go through them. So heavyweight, we've got Marciano's the champ, Jersey Joe Walcott, Rolling the Stars are 2. Ezra Charles 3. Rex Lane 4. Bob Baker was 5. Coley Wallace 6. He would play Joe Louis in a film, The Joe Louis Story. Yeah, and apparently he fought Rocky Marciano in the amateurs. Rumour has it he beat him. 7 is Dan Buccaroni. Harry Matthews, who come up from middleweight and lost to Marciano. A really good record when he lost to Marciano, but mainly at middleweight. Heinz Neas from Germany in 9 and 10. Hein Ten Hoff, obviously German. So I'm going to leave it there. It's the second of the Boxing Magazine videos. And this edition was May 1953.